I'm going to show you how to retouch a photo. So this is the original photo, and here are some edits that I did just to make it look a little bit more professional and interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete that group that I made, and this is the original photo that you'll start out with. I always like to make a copy of my image first so that I can see the changes that I'm making and track them. So I'm going to do Control J, and I'm going to do my work on this copy. And then I'm going to get the spot healing brush. So if you press J on your keyboard, it will select it for you. And let me zoom into my photo, and I always start off just removing some of the blemishes on the face with the spot healing brush. Right now I have my brush size at 8 and the hardness at 0, and I'm just going to click on a few of the blemishes. She doesn't have too many, so this won't take too long. All right, that is pretty good there. All right, the next thing I want to do is maybe remove some of these dark circles under her eyes. So I'm going to do another Control J to get another copy of that layer. And I think for this, I will use the Dodge tool. Dodge means lighten, burn means darken. So I'm going to go on the Dodge tool. And up here at the top, you can choose your brush size. This looks like a pretty good brush size. I have it on a soft brush. And this lets you choose where, if you want to lighten up the dark areas, the midtones, or the highlights. I'm going to start off with shadows. And I have my exposure down to 50%. So that means whatever I do, it's not going to be full strength. It's going to be about half the strength. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here and click on these dark areas under her eyes. If you do it too much, it'll look a little bit gray and weird, but I'm also going to go back and fix the brightness of her skin when I'm done. So let's turn that on and off real quick. All right, you can see that did a pretty good job. It's just that it made it look a little grayish. I can go back into this tool here and get the sponge tool now, and I can choose saturate. And I am going to put this about 50%, and my brush needs to be quite a bit smaller. So I'm going to use the bracket keys to do that. And I am not sure what's going to work and what's not. This is always a trial and error thing, but let's see how that, there you go. That looks nice. All right, so we resaturated her skin. So if you look, I'll undo it. You can see how it looked gray. And then I put it back, and then it gave her a better skin color. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to lighten this photo up a little bit. It has a lot of strong shadows, and I just want to give it a little more punch. So I'm going to do Control J again so that we can track all the edits, and then I'm going to do Control L, which is levels, and I'm going to pull this arrow in here so that this little triangle starts right at that little lump, and maybe move this over just a little bit. You don't want to do it too much, and I think that looks pretty good. So let's turn this on and off. You can see the difference now. It's a brighter photo. All right, let's do a couple more things here. I want to zoom in. I see that her eyes would look really cool if they were a little bit more saturated, and I also see that there's this hair that's going in front of her eyeball. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to get the lasso tool, and I'm actually going to zoom in here, and I'm actually just going to select the eyeball. And I'm going to hold the shift key so I can get the other eyeball as well. And now I'm going to copy and paste those on a different layer. So Control C, Control V. Now you can see I have a layer with just these eyeballs. And the first thing I'm going to do is color in that little, I'm going to get the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to get that dark color, and I'm going to get a very small brush and just color in those pixels there so that it gets rid of that hair that was in her eyeball. Same with over here. It's a very subtle change, but I think it makes a difference. All right, now what I want to do is make her eyes look greener than they actually are. So you can do Control U, U in saturation, colorize, and saturate them, and you can see up here in the hue, you can make them any color you want. So I'm going to leave her eyes green. This obviously looks very fake green, but don't worry about that yet. I'm going to say okay and zoom out. And then I'm just going to lower the opacity so that it doesn't look super fake. It's obviously going to look retouched, but not as fake as it would. So there's the difference. That looks pretty good. I see that there's still that piece of hair there. I think I will wait till the end to get that. All right, the next thing I want to do is I want to smooth out her skin a little bit. So I'm going to go back to this last layer. Again, I'm going to do Control J on that to make a duplicate. And I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, and Surface Blur. And you see the square here? It's a brush that lets you kind of brush over some of the areas. I think that looks pretty good. I have my radius on 24, threshold 15, but you're welcome to try the different settings and see what they do. I think that this actually looks good around 10. The radius, don't want it to be too much. I think that looks pretty decent. All right, so I have 28 and 10. You're welcome to put that however you think looks better. So let's turn that on and off. You see it just kind of smoothed her out a little bit. But what I don't like is that it made the hair a little bit blurry. So I'm going to put a layer mask on this. So you go down here at the bottom, click layer mask, and go on here. And I am going to get my brush tool. Let's make it big again, make it soft. And I'm going to paint black on there so that it will show through the layer that's underneath it, because I really want to keep the hair sharp and not blurry. Like, we want her face to be a little bit blurry, but not all of her hair. All right, that looks pretty good. And then the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to saturate her hair color a little bit. So I'm going to go back to this layer here. I'm going to do Control J, get another copy of that. I'm going to do Control U on this and saturate it. I'm actually going to probably saturate the whole thing. I think it kind of looks a little better being fully saturated. All right, so here we have like that blur. Here we have the saturation in hair. You can see when I turn it on and off, it's very subtle, but it looks good. And let's continue. One more thing I would like to do is I want to make her lips look pink instead of red. So I'm going to get out I'm going to zoom in first, and I'll see along here her lipstick looks a little bit smudged. I want to show you how you could try to fix that. And on this one, I think I will just try maybe just the, let's go to where the spot healing brush is and just get healing brush tool. And the way that works is if you alt click somewhere, or on a Mac it's option, but on your PC it would be alt. I'm going to click away from that lip area. So over here where this nice skin tone is, I'm going to alt click right there and then go in and just kind of paste that area there a little bit. I think that's better. Undo. Yeah, I think it helped a little bit. It's very subtle, but if I turn it off, turn it back on, I think it's pretty good. This area still looks a little bit dark to me, so I think I want to lighten that. So I'm going to go up here and get the dodge tool, and I'm going to go to the midtones, and let's try, whoa, that's strong. Let's lower the exposure a bit so that it's more subtle. Maybe make the brush bigger. See, if you do it too much, then it's, it's too strong. So you just want to be very subtle in how you do it. I think that still needs to be less exposure. Let's try 13. Oops. All right. I think that looks pretty good. And then, okay, I wanted to make her lips pink. That was the other thing I was going to do instead of red. So you're going to want to select the lips. Use whatever tool you like. I am a fan of the lasso tool to select it. And if you hold the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC, you can get it to draw straight lines too. So I'm going to select her lips. I'm not worried about it being perfect yet, but I will go back and clean up the selection a little bit. So if you hold the Shift key, you can still go back and add in any area that you might have missed. I think that is pretty decent. Now I'm going to copy that. So Control C, Control V. And then I'm going to use Control U, the hue and saturation, and you can change the color of her lips there. I just want them to be a little bit more of a pink color. That looks good. All right, so let's go ahead and group everything that we have here, except for the very first layer, just so I can turn it on and off. All right, so you can see now that I have these grouped, we turn it on and off. You can kind of see the difference between how the original photo looked like this and the edits that we made. We lightened it up, we brightened her skin tone, we got rid of the dark under the eyes, we changed her lip color, we saturated her eyes and her hair color. And I think overall it looks a lot better.